Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurna amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Divine Mother, take us from unreal to real. Take us from darkness of ignorance to bliss of knowledge, of knowingness, of moksha. Take us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. The purpose of Advaita, Vedanta. From the spiritual world, as we have taken up, there might be sometimes the confusions coming in your mind. Which is the correct one? What is it? So, Advaita philosophy is brought into the world by Shankaracharya. Many do not know that the Guru of Vivekananda is Paramahansa Ramakrishna, which is known to everyone. World over they know. But Guru or Paramahansa was Totapuri. He was the Puri Sampradaya, and he is from Shankaracharya. In other words, the Ramakrishna mission drive is from the Shankaracharya tradition, from where Totapuri learned, and Totapuri's Advaitavad came down to Ramakrishna Paramahansa. And Vivekananda, you all know how he went about. In another incident, everybody knows about Vivekananda asked about, have you seen God? The other one is Paramahansa Ramakrishna told Vivekananda one day that he who is Rama, he who is Krishna, is in this body Ramakrishna. Now this statement, if you look at it, reflect upon it, discuss, is not from the Advaitavad. Advaita is consciousness alone. But Rama and Krishna and Ramakrishna are dualism. So what is it? Which one? It might appear to be confusing. Actually, there is no confusion. It is basically the basic simple in the Advaita, following with the Kriya Yoga that we are doing, is knowing, is an awareness, is an understanding. In Sankhya philosophy, Ramanujan talked about you have to do bhakti, which alone will take you, but before that you should do the karma and meditation. Bhakti alone will take you. Patanjali Yoga says that only the Raja Yoga will take you to Kaivalya, take you to moksha. Buddha talked about eightfold path, in which he said Atma Deepa Bhava. there is, what is God? Where is God? What God are you talking about? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he talked about only bhakti. And mind you, he was a great scholar of Nyaya philosophy. And the Nyaya philosophy, those of you know a little bit about it, is the trickiest, is the most deepest science of logic and most ancient of India. I mean, it is to such extent that for 15 hours a day, for 5 days, Nyaya philosophy specialists, 200 of them got together, it was in Calcutta. I have not attended that, but I know about it. And they talked about, you'd be amazed, what was the topic? 15 hours a day for 5 days. So, 75 hours. What did they talk about? Nothingness. Shunyavad. This is their logic. Shankaracharya says that yes, the essence of everything is being aware, being conscious, consciousness, awareness. And consciousness alone, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Bandham, Brahman, Aitreya Upanishad, is the definition, of the most beautiful definition of God. You and I know we have been in the spiritual world and you all are very advanced, aspiring Vedantists now. I often say that I have to catch hold of your tail because the way you all are proceeding is very nice, it's beautiful. And in this process, as the Vedantist, you're aware that it's very difficult to define God. Ask any one of your friend, colleague, relatives, what is God? How do you define God? The Aitreya Upanishad is talking about Satyam, existence, truth. Truth alone exists. And remember the definition of mithya? Just to revise, there is intrinsic quality and there is borrowed quality. So remember the hot potato we talked about? It borrowed its heat from the hot water, which in turn borrowed from hot pan, which in turn borrowed from the fire. So they are all borrowed quality excepting for the fire. Fire is intrinsic. So as per Vedanta, the other three, excepting for the fire, from potato, pan, the water, they are all borrowed, mithya. Similarly is yours and my existence. We think we are the body, we are this name, we are the mind, we are the intellect, we are the ego, we are the memory. Mithya. This is Shankaracharya's thing. Become aware that everything about you is your consciousness. And Paramahansa Ramakrishna Vivekananda is talking about, before that, Paramahansa Yogananda is talking about bhakti, purity of living, the Kriya Yoga with meditation, your love, your bhakti for Guru, which in turn to the Guru Sampradaya and Paramahansa Yogananda and Krishna and the Jesus Christ, along with the Kriya Yoga, bhakti, practice of the meditations, would alone take you to Paramahansa Ramakrishna Vivekananda saying, infinite path to infinite reality. Bengali, Jato path, Tato mat. And in very simple, there is a beautiful book by, I will just show it to you, Ayun Maharaj. And this is the book. Thank you, Mother. Infinite Paths to Infinite Reality. Ayun Maharaj is a fantastic, powerful book. And this talks about in Bengali, Tumi Ananto, Patho Ananto. In English, you are infinite and infinite ways to reach you. And this is what Vivekananda and Paramahamsa Ramakrishna is talking about. Holy Mother is talking about. That you have infinite ways. So what are we talking about? You and I, we combine all four. That we have the infinite love. Notice we started with the prayer to Divine Mother and the gods and the gurus. Amritasya Putrahas. All the gurus. An Adi Guru. Who's the Adi Guru? Everybody says Shiva. Who's Shiva? Is the Brahman. Brahmarupi Mother. Mother is Brahman. And go ahead. You feel like worshipping a particular form, it's okay. So, all the parts together, but don't forget, wherever you are, whatever role you are playing, being aware, being conscious. So, let us say, I want to have a nice cup of coffee. So to have the coffee, I need this table. Yes, I can have it holding in my hand also. But coffee is nice on a table, no? So to have the coffee, which is what I want, I need a cup. So the cup is the process. And for the cup, I need this tabletop. The tabletop has 4 legs. 4 legs with all the 4 Vedas. And the tabletop is the processes of karma to purify your mind, purify all the funny thoughts, dirty thoughts, everything will go away in purified mind. Bhakti Yoga will intensify it towards one track alone. The Raja Yoga will help you to focus, which is the supreme Raja Yoga, is the Kriya Yoga which we are practicing. But being aware of the coffee alone, all the time keeping aware, I am Atman Brahman. Being aware of the coffee, that's what our intention is to drink today. This is from Shankaracharya downwards. It has come along. Now, we have talked about the 10 primary Upanishads out of 108 all. You all are aware of it. We know about the 4 Vedas. The Advaita Vedanta comprises primarily of Upanishad Nama, Vedanta Nama, Upanishad Pramana. And which are 4 Vedas. 4 Vedas have 4 sections. The last section is the Upanishad in majority of them. Some of them have a little bit of Upanishad in the center too. You all are about aware of Shankaracharya, very young. At the age of 16 years of age, till 32, he left his body at 32. His power of the wisdom, the acquired knowledge, and the writing, His guru's guru was Gaurapada, and he has written his commentary on Gaurapada, his guru's gurus, which is the commentary that we keep using. Today we'll talk about one incident, a beautiful story. Shankaracharya at that time with his disciples were living in Banaras, and he had gone for a bath in the river, holy water, Ganga. After bath, he was coming back to his ashram. As you know, Banaras tracks are very small. I believe now it is beautiful, very clean. Many of you have been going. I know, I hear Raja and all have been traveling there many times. After it has been cleaned up, we haven't been there. We will make it a point to go now. But the track and the cows and the cow dungs are very famous. Used to be. Now I believe it is not there. Shankaracharya is coming back. Imagine those days we had the casteism system, the castes. We had the Shudras who did the menial job and the cleaning and selling meat and hunting and things like that. Then we had the Vaishyas who did the business, trading. Then we had the Kshatriyas who were the administrators, they were the kings, emperors, looked after the protection of the state of the country. And we had Brahman. Actual meaning of the Brahman is the one who has the Brahma Gyan, who is Pandit. You all know about all the temples have Pandas and we call them Pandas, no? I was amazed to find out from Upanishad the true meaning of Panda, and it is explained by Shankaracharya. You'll be amazed too, and I wish to share with you. A Pandit is he who has Panda. Who has Panda. And what is Panda? Panda is the one who is established in self-knowledge. I am Atman Brahman. Who knows? Aham Brahmasmi. Main hi Brahma hu. He is Panda. Not the way that we see in the temple ground. Everybody comes and chases you and money, money, money. Those are all wrong systems have started off. So this Shankaracharya is coming back from the bath and he finds a huge chandal, big figure, and in one part of the story which is known that he is with 4 dogs and blocking the road, he's sitting down with his leg across. And another story shows that he's carrying a huge cut flesh. As you know, Shankaracharya, pure vegetarian, Shuddha Brahmin family from South India. And he sees this man with a bleeding carcass of a body on his shoulder. Shankaracharya and his bhaktas, everybody said, in the language of that time, move away, move away, move away. This Chandal asks Shankaracharya, challenges him. You from a holy Brahmin caste, you're supposed to be aware of Panda, you're the Pandit. Who do you want to move away from you? From your body, this body? But we all belong to the same Maya, which is the 5 elements. Akasha, Prithvi, Vayu, Agni. No? You're aware about it. And the Jala. We both the same element. Who do you want to go away from you? the consciousness which you, apparently he knew, this Chandal knew everything about Shankaracharya. And this consciousness is only one. Your consciousness and my consciousness is one consciousness. And so are these dogs. How do you want this consciousness to go away from each other? Then he goes on to say, the space inside a golden vessel, a golden pot, is not influenced by gold, nor is the space confined in an earthen pot becomes earthen and influenced by earth. The space between you and me, is it influenced? Shankaracharya, absolutely stunned, awestruck, suddenly realized his casteism. He does pranam to this Chanda. Imagine those days, Shuddha, I think he was Saraswat Brahman, the supreme Brahman. Not very sure. I think he was called Saraswat Brahman. Find out and let me know if you can find out. I will also find out. He does pranam to the Chandal, and he said, he who is aware of this knowledge, I accept you as my Guru. You are my Guru. And then immediately he goes ahead and sings 5 beautiful stotras. 5 of them. And they call Manisha Panchakam. We'll talk briefly about Manisha Panchakam today. In these 5 stotras, Shankaracharya, in the first 4, each one is from one Vedas. Each one of it. And each one of them are based on the Mahavakya from that Veda. There are many Mahavakyas, but customarily, by usage and colloquially, is taken, and particularly by Manisha Panchakam, 4 Mahavakyas from 4 Vedas. The oldest is the Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda is talking about Prajnana Brahman from Rig Veda. Then he's talking about from Yajur Veda, Upanishad, Brihadanaka. He's talking about Aham Brahmasmi. And then he is singing the Stotra, the third one. It's from Shama Veda. Chandakya Upanishad. Tat Tvam Asi. Very famous. I am that. Nicaragua Maharaj, his book, I am that. You are that. And then the 7th stotra of Mandakya Upanishad, which is Atharva Veda, is talking about I am Atman Brahman. So 4 Vedas, 4 Upanishads, talking about these 4 Mahavakyas. Prajnana Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Tat Tvamasi, I am Atman Brahman. And notice in everything, Prajnana Brahman, consciousness alone is the reality. Is what? Knowledge, is an awareness. Consciousness alone. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahma. And Shankaracharya is writing this Totras and addressing it to these Chandal. And it is said, somewhere it is described, that this Chandal was no less than the Shiva. And where it talks about the 4 dogs, is those 4 dogs with the 4 Vedas. Representative, metaphorically. And then, Tat Tvamasi, you are that. And I am Atman Brahman. I am the Brahman. So notice in our process of the Advaita with the Dvaitavad, that is Saguna Brahman, which is with the figure, with the mother, with the Krishna, with God, with our Guru, with our respect, to Nirguna Brahman, where everything is one and consciousness alone is one. So in which, how do we go about it? There is a little maybe mixing of the motion. What is the process? What do we do? So remember we talked about the Chatushta Pada, those 4 ways, which is actually, if you count it, is 9. So develop Viveka, Vairag. Then Shata Sampatti, which is Shama, Dama, Uparati, Samadhana, Titiksha, Shraddha. Respect. Unless you have respect in the class for your physics class or the English teacher or the book, you're not going to learn anything. You have to have Shraddha. The Shraddha in these ancient masters talk, what we are sharing with each other. And then Mumukshatyam is the 9th one. So 6 plus 2 and 1, 9. Is an intense desire through all the time, through the day, keeping that one. Otherwise, all are 0. These things that we are racing for. What is everybody racing for? A beautiful way one of the parents is talking about. These days, from morning, we get up, hardly have time to eat breakfast, some black coffee and charge to the office. They're the whole day in the office with 1 computer or maybe 6 computers of the IT world. Whether it is in Pune, in Karadi with the World Trade Center in the IT world, or the Hinjawadi, or in Mumbai, or in Bangalore, or anywhere, or in the Manhattan in US, or anywhere. And then you work like that, and then you earn a lot of money. And this lady says, and then we go out and do shopping, and buy things, and then do what? Go and have fun. What fun? Go down and some pubs and eat some food and pay hundreds of dollars for the food. We are all seeking what? That joy. And soon enough, I find this is not enough. I'm not happy. So what do I do now? Now I look, I say, I'm alone. So I need a partner. So one bored girl is looking for a company. And one bored boy is also looking for company. And they meet each other. Soon enough, the bored girl and the bored boy get together, get married, and give a year or 2 or 3, start to bore each other. 78% marriages are on the rocks. They've forgotten the basics of finding God in the person in front. Remember our examples? In the clay pot, the pot doesn't exist eventually. It is the clay alone. It is the water alone in the ocean. The waves are there. Bubbles and froths and ocean is there. But without the water, ocean doesn't exist. So the water alone is the consciousness alone. So let us look at you and me. We are proceeding today in 3 states. Waking state, like right now. How are you witnessing this whole world, whole universe? You are witnessing with your senses, 5 senses. They're feeding to the brain, to the mind. And mind is with the memory, with the intellect, with the logic, is trying to put them together, making a sense of it, and understanding, and analyzing. I like it, I don't like it. Consciousness, what is the role? Consciousness, like the sun's light to the moon, is putting, called the reflective consciousness, to those thoughts called vritti, and they getting illuminated and coming into understanding with the consciousness in the waking world. So in the waking world, unless you have consciousness, you cannot perceive anything, which is the next world. In the next world is the dream world. You go after sleep, you're recollecting Mandakya Upanishad. The sutra is talking about Om, A is waking world, O is the dream world, is the deep sleep world. So, now go into the dream world. Suddenly, you're experiencing, let's say you're attending a session on yoga, on Vedanta, on Paramahansa Yogananda or Ramakrishna Mission's pravachan. Hundreds of people, thousands of people in the dream world. But who's present there? You are seeing hundreds of people, thousands of people. But are there hundreds of people there actually in your dream world? No, it's only you. Who you is that? That is your mind, which has the partial properties of the memory, of the intelligence, of the analysis, and of the senses. You're hearing, you're seeing, you're tasting, you're smelling fragrance. Maybe you're going in a ship experiencing. What is an experience? Can we define experience? We have talked about it before. Let's revise. Experience is defined as per Vedanta is object with consciousness. There has to be an object and the consciousness. So, as per Vedanta, anything that you are experiencing is an object through your consciousness. So, I am experiencing this glass. There are 2 different objects, remember? The glass cover, the glass. 2 different objects. I can name this glass, it can exist on its own. I can name this cover, it can exist on its own. But think, this table, can I separate the wood from the table? If this is a wooden table, this is a teak wood table. I cannot take away the teak wood and the table will sustain. I cannot take away the clay from the pot and the clay pot sustain. I cannot take away the gold from the jewelry and the jewelry sustain. I cannot take away the water from the ocean of the wave and the froth. It doesn't sustain. In the dream world, the mind alone is experiencing all this. And when you wake up, you remember that and you say, oh, it was a dream. You don't go back and say, I was eating that special pizza, let me go back to the dream and eat that again. Or I like that beautiful dance I was having in Florida in a ship, cruising. I want to get back and finish the dance. You can't do that. And then in the deep sleep. In the deep sleep, what is deep sleep? There is no mind. There are no senses. And it's absolute silence. And consciousness alone exists. A good question will be from you, if there is no mind, mind is what? Mano, buddhi, ahankar, chittana, na aham. Mind, buddhi, intellect, chitta, consciousness, that chitta, the memory, and ego. Four of them are not there. So no memory. So a good question would be from you, okay, alright, I'm with you, but how do you remember after the deep sleep? There is no mind. How do you remember that you had a very good sleep? You do remember, no? You do remember, supposing there was no deep sleep and no memory of the deep sleep, how would you experience I was waking, I was reading, I went off to sleep, I had a nice dream and now I'm up. You will not say, I had a dream and then, oh, it is beautiful experience. So it is not experiencing in deep sleep the emptiness. Check. It is not experiencing the emptiness in deep sleep. Or is it the emptiness you are experiencing in deep sleep? You are in that void, emptiness. So experiencing the void, the emptiness. In which, how do you remember now? The question. So, it is said in the deep sleep, you have the consciousness and you have what is always there is Maya. And the Maya has three gunas. The Tamagun, the Rajagun and Sattvagun. And these gunas in the deep sleep and in the waking world and the dream world are continuously changing from one form to the other, same. Sattva-guna becomes Rajaguna, Rajaguna becomes Tamaguna, Tamaguna becomes Rajaguna or Sattva-guna, and it goes on. And they have something as per Upanishad, a hidden intrinsic quality of memory. You remember through that Maya memory this experience of. So, waking, dreaming, deep sleep. But the fourth is called the Turiya state, the state of silence. So in the Omkar, relate, so we say, silence. This silence is the Turiya. Turiya means fourth state. Today in your meditation, experience that silence Turiya. That is Brahman. Brahman is everywhere. But experiencing the closest to the Brahman is the Turiya state. So many a time you might say that I was in state of nothing. Be careful. Vivekananda, Shankaracharya talking about like a string of pearl. Pearl string, beautiful, very expensive. But each one of the pearl is tied with the string. So one explanation is that string is the consciousness. which is tied up everything in our life, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and Turiya state, everything is tied up with that consciousness. That string is one explanation. The other one is every bit of the events are embedded in the consciousness. That consciousness alone is the essence. The other events are just embedded into it. Now, they could be, if consciousness alone, there is a, you remember that Malaysian experience of the airline? The two airlines, they flew off and then there were no trace till today. They don't know where these two airlines vanished. At that time, some were sending missile shot or something, but there are wreckages, something should have been found, nothing has been found. So one of the boy who wrote to one of our very senior, very powerful monk, and he's talking, wrote to him to say, my girlfriend was traveling, and very sadly he's asking this question. Can I find out, can you tell me, what was the last thought of my girlfriend in the air before she vanished or she died or whatever it is? So this very senior monk, he answered, no, we cannot. As per Advaita, you cannot. Because that mind is different. Understand, consciousness is one. Shankaracharya is explaining in Manisha Panchakam that the Supreme Brahman, and then as per Swaguna Brahman, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and then all the gods and the demigods and the Gandharvas and the entire billions of people, 7 billion people on this universe, and billions of creatures in other parts of the universe, and on earth alone, to the tiniest of the microscopic life, each are embedded into one consciousness. So, as for this boy, then that one consciousness should be able to tell. But the Advaita says no. The consciousness is one. But consciousness experiences the world through the reflective consciousness to the mind. The mind receives the data from the senses and in turn feeds the data. So supposing my eyes were not there, or I had closed eyes, or I was blind, I will not have the visual aid. If I was deaf, I will not hear anything. So consciousness cannot get the auditory. So consciousness is experiencing this universe, the world, with mind and the senses. So the mind of that girlfriend, and this boy from Norway who wrote, the two minds are different. Now, you have heard, as per yoga, that when you reach a certain state, you come to realize what is in the other people's mind. Sometimes you and I also do, no? I'll give a crude example. You know when your husband or wife is angry, no? When your friend is very happy. When your son and the daughter, what do they want? Or are they telling a lie? How do you come to know? You do come to know as you keep on practicing more and more and more. You get, it is called an intuitive, inner tuition. Tuition guidelines, like you learn through the tutor, you learn mathematics and physics and English, or German or French language or computer science through a tutor. You learn through intuition. Inner consciousness gives you that through the reflective consciousness. But it is not accepted by Advaita. Advaita says, mind are billions of minds. 7 billion people on this earth, 7 billion minds. and each are different. So you say, but that consciousness is small and this consciousness is huge. Let's say a saint's consciousness and my consciousness. No, Advaita does not agree with that. Advaita says all consciousness is one. And goes on to say even the consciousness of the ant to the consciousness of Brahma and Brahman is one. And that consciousness alone is, imagine, Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is existence. Existing ocean of existence in which we say, no, this glass exists, this book exists, I have a car, meaning I have that car as an existence. We, in Advaita, we say, start to not think about things in that way, but think of it another way. Existence is the car, is the dolphin, is the dog, is me, is my friend, is my parent, is my husband, my wife, my children. Existence is. Then what happens? Consciousness, existence, consciousness, Sat, Chit. That consciousness and this existence cannot be divorced. Remember, they are one. Because existence cannot be two. Because if it is more than one existence, it becomes an object. Subject is one. Witness alone, remember? Last time's talk, Drashta and Drishya. It's alone, single. The moment you make it two, it becomes dualism. Then it is not one. And it becomes an object, it's not subject. Subject experiences the object. So one alone. So opposite of existence is not existence, it doesn't exist. But how do you experience existence? Through the consciousness. So they cannot be divorced. They are together always. And when you get them together, Ananda Prapti, you attain. So Duksha Nivritti, Ananda Prapti. So what is the journey of this Advaita with our combination of the four egos, going into the practicing through the exercises, remove all the nodules from the body, restlessness, sit down, do your first three exercises, go on to the breathing exercises, go in through the Hamsa meditation, follow the breath with the breath, going into Prajnana Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. And then Sat Chit, existence, ocean of existence. In this ocean, you and I might feel, I am such a small thing, I'm a part of that ocean. No. You and I in that huge ocean is the bubble, is the froth, is the wave. Is the ocean of, like the water, is the consciousness. We are in that existence water, is existing, but we are one. We are one. And this journey, as the oneness comes in, is the consciousness and you become one. That is called moksha. Attainment of one awareness, one consciousness. And then what do we do? Ananda Prapti. Duksha Nivritti. Ananda Prapti. So what is the essence? The essence of Vedanta is Nivrittisa Nivritti. Meaning, what is not yours, you are removed from that. What does that mean? What is not yours and you are removed from that. And Praptasya Prapti, what you already have, you are given that. What is it? Nivrittisa Nivritti. We are not our body, we are not our mind, but we say, this is Robbin Ghosh. This is me. Nivrittisa Nivritti. So remove your awareness, this is not me. Praptasya Prapti, I am the consciousness alone. Sat Chit Ananda. Aham Brahmasmi. So, the moment you realize that, you realize I'm not the mind and the body, then you become, remember the Shankaracharya sloka? Mano buddhi ahankar chittana na aham. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then the other part, Chidananda Rupaham Shivoham Shivoham. I am that Shiva. Now what happens? You don't have to run off to the mountain. You have the mountain cave within you. The Himalaya is inside of you. You are in the samsara. You are the professional. You are the sports person. You are the grandfather, the father, the mother, the grandmother, the child, the professional, the business person. Continue to do that, but knowing I am not the one. I am not the doer. The Paramahansa Ramakrishna saying, Tomar kaj tumi karoma loki bole ami kuri. Everybody says you are the one who is doing it. I am the one who is doing it. But we have to say, I am not the one. So keep that one always in whatever we do. And now you can be in the ocean of this existence as a wave. And play the role of the wave. Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he continued, came out of his samadhi. His broken hand was still there. His cancer was still there. And Turiya Maharaj, Hari Maharaj asked him, Thakur, kemon acho ajke? Thakur said, my throat is paining, I can't eat anything. Turiya Maharaj, Hari Maharaj said, but you look to be in absolute bliss. And Paramahansa Ramakrishna started laughing and he said, rascal has caught me. Sala ne pakad liya. Being, he's still remembering everyone, Vivekananda, but he is still one. Yours and our duty is journey toward that. Abhyasa yoga, practice, specific time, specific place. Follow those 9. Follow ayama, niyama. Follow those 15 steps of Shankaracharya has given us. You remember? Aparoksha jnana, which we talked about. So you have a beautiful practice sessions tomorrow, early morning, Sunday, today, and afternoon and evening. I pray for everyone. Akasha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Vanaspataya Shanti, Jalaha Shanti, Uttaradesha Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti, Purbaya Shanti, Paschimaya Shanti, Manaha Shanti, Vritya Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Krishna.